Good morning. Good morning, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? I am fine. Watching gold at 23.74. It's 10 o'clock, so that's what we expect. And this is really meaningless just to look at it. Silver down to 32.93. Why is it down 60 cents? The two most demanded items in the world, and they're down for no reason. They'll be back up, but it's Friday. The U.S. It's like Social Security, right? They look at it in June or July after they dump it down and say, "Hey, it's 1%." So when they do Social Security the next year, they only have to give you a 1% increase, even though inflation's 80%. So there's something that happens, especially the end of this is the end of the month, so. They want the price lower for God knows what reason. It's all bullshit anyway. Let's send my pit to Daria. So 32.70. Oh, it's 32.81. Okay, we got a nice little run up. That's the thing with it. It's so volatile, it just jumps, but it's not volatile. It's the derivatives, it's the paper game. That's why you see what you see. All right, I'm on early because I have to do something at noon, so I am coming on now. All right. So let's go to the draft. This is probably the worst draft. This could be the worst draft in the history. As far as like you're going to draft somebody and he's going to help your team. After looking at the first round, and we'll go through this, my guess is there's maybe 3 people that'll help their team, and the rest won't help them at all. All right, so let's go through this, go through all the picks, and I'll be as brutally honest as you know I am, which is why I'm not sugarcoating anything. I'm telling you from a betting standpoint, from a handicapper standpoint, from an analytics standpoint. All right, Tennessee. Cam Ward, Miami, with the first pick. Cam Ward will not be any good. He'll be a Richardson. He'll run around. At Washington State, if you looked at him, he's not very good. So I'm not buying him at all that he's going to come in and be the savior of Rome. It ain't going to happen. This was a terrible number 1 pick. If I was Tennessee, I would have traded it because this guy's not going to help me. I don't know that he's better than Levitt. He had one good year at Miami in a different offense, and he sucked against Washington State when they played better, Washington and Oregon State. He wasn't very good. In the ACC, they have no defense. See, a lot of the things that people don't understand is who did they play against. Michigan 2 years ago had the easiest schedule ever, and their national championship's a joke. It's not real. They didn't play anybody. Shouldn't even have been in the playoff. Oregon and Georgia should have been in. So you have to take it with the reality of who did they play. So I'm not buying Cam Ward a bit. I wouldn't waste a nickel on any of his cards, and we will bet heavily against Cam Ward. I don't think he's better than Tagliavoa. He's better than Lawrence. And then these guys suck. He's not even a Sam Darnold. I mean, this guy's nothing. Number 2 pick, Jacksonville. Why would you trade and then take Travis Hunter? So Jacksonville trades the pick to Cleveland for Travis Hunter. Oh, a must-have. We need, what is he, a receiver or is a cornerback? Either way, you don't draft that as with the number 2 pick. You draft one of these Georgia edge rushers or something like that. But it shows you there's no quarterbacks. Jacksonville needs a quarterback. The Giants need a quarterback. New England needs a quarterback. Cleveland, and nobody's drafting quarterbacks. So it shows you how weak that was. And then the ones that got drafted, Cam Ward and Dart, really? Oh, he's pathetic. Really, really strange. Hey, David. Good morning. So Jacksonville, again, they need a quarterback. Trevor Lawrence stinks. Travis Hunter, what? Cornerback? Really? You waste the number 2 pick in the draft with the cornerback? No, you don't. Wide receiver, that's even a stupider pick. Just ask the Detroit Lions, who kept drafting wide receivers in the first round, how well that worked out. You need the line. You need a strong defense. It's not that difficult. Look what Philly did. Look at Kansas City's defense. Look at Baltimore's defense. Look at Buffalo's defense. This is the teams in the playoffs. The Rams, when they had Aaron Donald, the Niners with that defense. So why would you draft a cornerback, or is he a wide receiver? Jacksonville will be last place. I'm in Tennessee. Will fight it out. The Giants, Abdul Carter, edge Penn State. He's okay. The Giants need a defensive end. Didn't you draft Thibodeau last year or 2 years ago? Well, you had Barkley and you gave him up for nothing. So what are you doing? You need a quarterback. This doesn't solve your problem. You're not going to win with Abdul Carter if he even makes the lineup, because you have Thibodeau and the other guy already. Where's he going to play? Maybe he's like a outside linebacker. Is this really going to help your team? He's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He's probably one of the top 2 or 3, maybe, if we trust what he did in college is actually real. I don't know. So let's say he's okay. Maybe he'll start about 10 games in. New England, Will Campbell, offensive tackle, LSU. Stupidest pick I've ever seen. You need a quarterback. You need running backs. You need receivers. You need defense. And you draft an offensive tackle that you could get in the 5th round from Notre Dame, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State. And it would be just as good as this guy. How can you tell me this guy's any better than the guy in the 4th, 5th round from Georgia, from Florida, from Alabama? I mean, you can't. You can't differentiate an offensive tackle, but you know what you can do? Anybody that's really good, you forfeited it for an offensive tackle for a position that you could easily replace. You're telling me New England's problem is their offensive line? Really? With Drake May and no running backs and no receivers, and their problem is the offensive line. Okay, so New England probably won't win more than 2 games next year. This is not a help. An offensive lineman does not help your team in the 1st round. It's the wrong time to get, because the guy you might have taken like Gentry or Scadaboo or something like that, Dylan Gabriel won't be there later. Although it is a screwy draft that nobody took Gabriel, but we'll see Gentry go. Cleveland now, you have Myles Garrett, right? You take Mason Graham, a defensive tackle from Michigan. Okay. What the fuck are you doing? You need a quarterback. So the Giants, who don't have a quarterback, don't draft one. Cleveland, who needs a quarterback, doesn't draft one. They draft a defensive tackle who probably won't. You know, he'll be lucky to make the team. Cleveland's got defense. They got Myles Garrett. They've got Nick Chubb, if he's still healthy. He hurt his knee last year. But you know what you don't have is a quarterback or receivers. So that's how you want to win. Let's go to the KC has Mahomes. Buffalo, well, Josh Allen. I'm not a big Josh Allen fan. Tom Brady, Joe Montana. That's how you win. What are you there for? Now you can get away with it with a Lawrence Taylor, with the Phil Simms. You can do that if you have a Lawrence Taylor, which they have. Myles Garrett is pretty good, but it's. I would have rather have saw Jacksonville take this guy because they need help all over, and they need a coach. So these teams that go to offense and they think, well, I'll win because I'll have offense, like Detroit, you don't win with that. You win with defense. Check the Philadelphia and Kansas City and San Francisco. They're the ones making the Super Bowl, and it's been that way since the 60s with the Packers. Okay, so Cleveland, Mason Graham, not a bad player, but not what Cleveland needed. Oakland, all right. Finally, a pick that makes sense. Ashton Gentry goes from Boise State. So you've got Brock Bowers, and now you've got Ashton Gentry, and Dylan Gabriel's still on the table. So is McLeod. So is Rourke from Indiana. It's funny how they don't, because they didn't run a 4.40 with their shorts on at the combine. They're not good quarterbacks. Do you watch the games? So Oakland can get a real steal here. Now they can get Dylan Gabriel, would be a great pick in the second round, and then go after some defense, which you can get, or offensive lineman you can get in the 4th, 5th round. All right, so Oakland, Ashton Gentry, that's a very good pick. With him and Brock Bowers, what it does is it gives you balance. And now we go back to Seattle. They had Lockett and DK Metcalf, and they had Marshawn Lynch and Russell Wilson. So they've got the Marshawn Lynch part, and they have Brock Bowers instead of DK Metcalf, that's fine. And now they need the quarterback. So we will see. Geno Smith is not their quarterback. The Jets, with the 7th pick, take a guy, offensive tackle from Missouri. Are you fucking kidding me? What is this? Oh, do they not need a quarterback? They let Aaron Rodgers go for nothing, which I thought was incredibly stupid. And now you draft an offensive tackle. Are you fucking with me or what? Terrible pick. I don't care how good the guy is. I don't think he's that good. And like I say, I can get an offensive tackle from Missouri in the 5th round who's just as good as this guy. Terrible pick. Not that he's not that good, but he should be picked in the 5th round. You don't pick an offensive tackle in the 1st round, especially when you're the Jets, another team that needs a quarterback that isn't drafting a quarterback. This draft is like, what the fuck are these teams this stupid? Carolina takes McMillan, the wide receiver, Arizona. Terrible pick. You got a quarterback problem. Bryce Young stinks. I think you have a running back. You don't have receivers, but this guy's not a 1st-round pick. Very, very stupid pick. It reminds me of New England always drafting these receivers who suck. This guy wasn't even a top 5 receiver based on stats. And, like I said, the guy from Bowling Green was the best receiver. Big mistake here. Is this going to help? Bryce Young? No. Is this guy any good? Doubt it. Is he going to start day one? I doubt it. He might, but will he even run the right patterns? Look at Roma Duzzi at the Bears. He didn't know what he was doing. Look at Marvelous Marvin Harrison. He's terrible. So I don't get this pick at all. Carolina's one that needs a quarterback and needs defense. See, all these teams make the mistake. They need quarterbacks. They get one, and like the Giants with Daniel Jones. How many years did I bitch about why is still Daniel Jones? And then they finally re-up him, and then he stinks because now they, after 5 years, realize he stinks, and they cut him. But why didn't they draft another quarterback Why were they so sold on Daniel Jones? Oh, because he went to the Peyton Manning camp. So therefore, he's obviously a first round draft pick. Come on, he went to a Peyton Manning camp. So they have one, and they don't realize he sucks. Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, Tagliabue. Go down the list. Sam Darnold, boom, 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 boom. Geno Smith. These quarterbacks suck. And yet, why do you think Dallas is so bad? Cooper Rush came in and did pretty good with it, right? But here's Dak Prescott, Mr. Choke, 2 interceptions a game. I mean, it's just pathetic. Vikesh, hello. Welcome to the class. Please feel free to ask anything about our topics. But welcome. New Orleans, Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle from Texas. Really? This is what New Orleans needs. The first round offensive tackle from Texas, because Texas did so well losing to Georgia and losing their game, whoever the hell they played in the playoffs. Yeah, I don't think this is a good pick either. I hate offensive linemen in the first round. Why Kelvin Banks? Why the guy from LSU? What are you talking about? Why are these guys any good? Terrible pick. The Bears. Colston Loveland from tight end from Michigan. Another receiver for the Bears. The Bears need a quarterback. They need a running back. Their defense is pretty good. I don't see that this guy's that good. He sat out the Ohio State game, tells me he's not a player. He's a baby. I don't even know if he'll see the field at Chicago. It'll be too hard for him. Oh, he'll get hurt. He'll get hurt. Yeah. This guy's got no heart. I wouldn't have drafted him. I wouldn't have drafted either of the Michigan guys who sat out the Ohio State game. That's one game you don't sit out if you can walk. The other guy's the cornerback who, he got the pick on Mikey Keene in Fresno State, and he's living off of that. San Francisco, Michael Williams, edge from Georgia. I like this pick because Frisco's a defensive team. They go after a good defensive edge from Georgia, not a stupid offensive lineman. They need to play defense. If McCafferty's coming back, they got Purdy. They need receivers. The receiver I got last year was terrible from Florida. Like, what are you guys picking that guy for? But this is a good pick. Any edge from Georgia is a good pick. It's a defensive player to help your defense, like at Philadelphia. Dallas, Tyler Booker, offensive guard, Alabama. Well, you know how I feel about Alabama players. They all suck. Really, Dallas needs an offensive guard from Alabama. With all their problems, they need an offensive guard from Alabama. Now, I know this is not a deep quarterback draft. I get that. I'm not drafting. I need running backs at Dallas. You got CeeDee Lamb. You need defense. You need help against Philadelphia. Maybe that's what this pick's about, is getting a guard. But from Alabama, terrible pick. Miami, Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle. Michigan. Now, I know Miami needs defense, so it's not a bad pick from what they need. They need a quarterback. Still, Tagliabue, has he got concussion now or what? Are they going to keep Tyreek Hill at $35 million a year? Can't do that. This is the problem with teams that do that, right? All of a sudden, they got to let the whole team go. They let other defensive players go. They let running back go. They can't, you can't sign anybody when you're paying Tyreek Hill $30 million a year. This is problem paying one guy $30 million, and then your defense sucks. So he gets the guy who's on a rookie contract. So it's okay. I don't know how good he is. I didn't think Michigan's defense was all that. I think Miami's got bigger. I would rather see him get an edge, somebody to rush the passer than just a run stopper. But I don't know. I'm not impressed with this pick. David, TK, who would you take in the first round? Well, it depends on my needs. So give me a team and I'll tell you how I would have drafted. But normally you want the stud running back, the solid quarterback. You don't really want a receiver unless it's Jerry Rice. Probably a good linebacker, a Jack Ham, a Joe Green, somebody like that. I stay away from the secondary. So I want to control the line of scrimmage. So it all goes back to your philosophy. I want to have a good defense. That's the first thing. Then I want a good offense. I don't want the offense first. Look at the Lions. Good offense, no defense. They can't win any big games. They had a good defense. They would have shut out San Francisco in the second half and won and went to the Super Bowl. Because they had a bad defense, they gave up 20 points or 24 points in the fourth quarter, in the second half, and lost really down by 10. They got a cheap touchdown late. And then last year against Washington, they had no defense at all. So defense is the key. Look at Philadelphia, Kansas City, Buffalo, kind of, Baltimore, kind of, San Francisco, the Rams when they had Aaron Donald, New England when they won had the big defense, Dallas with Jimmy Johnson had the big defense. That's where you win. So that would be my philosophy. So I'd go after these Georgia defensive ends, linebackers. I saw somebody take a Georgia safety. Hard in the first round to take receivers and safeties and corners, but that would be my philosophy. I'd be all over these Georgia defensive ends, and I can see there's 2 or 3 of them taken. But that would be my thing. And in this draft, the best player is Gentry. And if I'm picking later, I would, okay, let's go. Okay. So 14, Indianapolis, Tyler Warren, tight end, Penn State. Really? I need a quarterback. The team doesn't even understand their needs. Well, I have Anthony Richardson, so I'm all set. I have Dak Prescott, so I'm all set. You're not winning with these clowns. These are not winners. However, in this draft, the only quarterbacks you could take would be Dylan Gabriel and McLeod from Texas State, maybe the kid from Indiana, and then Will Howard from Ohio State. Those are your 4 basic quarterbacks. So do I want to take Will Howard? Well, I don't know. I think Dylan Gabriel would have been my first choice, just like Daniels was last year. But you don't have a Daniels in this draft, so it's hard to say. I think Will Howard will be okay. He did win a fucking championship at Ohio State, where the other guy had to go to Syracuse because he sucked. So Tyler Warren, do I really need a tight end? I mean, maybe if it's Dave Casper, but I don't think this guy's Dave Casper. And again, you don't know how good they are. Penn State had a very weak schedule in the playoffs. You can't even measure it. He could look good against a weak team, and you go, "Oh, this guy's great." So it's a very bad draft for receivers, quarterbacks. It's a very good draft for running backs. Indy has a running back, so I probably would have went defensive end here. Atlanta, I love Atlanta's draft. They get my A+. Jalen Walker, linebacker from Georgia, perfect. You got Penix, you got the running back, you got the receivers. Offensive line, I can get in the 5th round if I need an extra guy. And then what's been my problem for the last 20 years? Oh, yeah, I've never had a defense. I lost the Super Bowl because I didn't have a defense. Oh, Philadelphia won because they had a defense. So great pick for Atlanta. And then the other one they picked was great too. We'll get to that. So Jalen Walker, linebacker, just love the pick. It's exactly what they needed, and it's a good pick. It's a good defensive pick, and he's from Georgia. So it fits all my categories. And you guys who want to get on me about Georgia, who won the Super Bowl? Oh, yeah. And how many Georgia defensive players did they have on it? Oh, yeah, 6. Enough said. Arizona, Walter Nolan, defensive tackle, Ole Miss. Now, I don't mind the pick because Arizona needs defense. They blew Marvin Harrison, sucked last year, and then he's from Ole Miss, who had a really good defense. So I honestly like this pick. I'd maybe get a defensive end, but okay. And I like out of Mississippi and Tennessee had really good defenses last year. Cincinnati, Shermer, Stewart, Edge, A&M. I hate this pick. He's not a Georgia Edge. He didn't do anything. I saw the stats. He had 4 sacks in like 2 years. What is this? He's an athlete. I don't want an athlete. I want a football player. Terrible pick. Now, Cincinnati needed an edge rusher, but not this guy. I mean, they totally got the wrong guy. I don't know what they're looking at. He looked good at he's in shorts and he's fast. He's not a football player. I want a guy who's productive. I want a passionate player. That's the problem with the Michigan guys. They're not passionate. They don't give a shit. And here, I don't. I hate this pick. Good position. They need a defense because you got Joe Burrow and Chase. You're fine there. You also need a running back. If I'm going to fuck up with this guy, I would have drafted Scatterboo. Way ahead of this guy. Seattle, Gray Zabel, guard, North Dakota State. Are you fucking kidding me? With all that you need, Seattle, you don't have to guard in the first round with the 18th pick. What a stupid pick. I mean, they got to be out of their fucking minds. You just let DK Metcalf go and Tyler Lockett. I think you need a receiver. You need defense because you can't stop the wind. And you have running backs. So I give you that. A guard from North Dakota State, another Trey Lance. I don't get the North Dakota State thing. Really? You can't find a guy at Alabama, Georgia, Florida. You go to North Dakota State for a guard. Terrible pick. Whoever's this GM has his head way up his ass. Sam Darnold is, he had Jordan Jefferson, right? Justin Jefferson. Okay, that's why he was so good. He ain't going to be good at Seattle. You're going to see him really regress. And in the big games, he didn't show up. Lost to the Lions. They could have had the 1 seed and got killed. Couldn't read a blitz. And then lose to the Rams in the playoff games. So do you think he learned how to read a blitz now? Terrible pick. Tampa Bay, Ameki and Igbuga from Ohio State, wide receiver. I don't mind they took a wide receiver. I'm not sold on this guy after Marvin Harrison. I think this is a terrible pick. I don't like the guy. I don't think he's that good. He's a possession receiver. You've got 2 or 3 good receivers. And your backups probably aren't bad. I wouldn't have wasted a first-round pick on this guy. Maybe, like I said, if it was a really good receiver, but this is not a receiver class, so I wouldn't have wasted my time on him. Prophet. Hey, Prof. Oakland took, yeah, that was a great pick. Now they got him and Brock Bowers. Now you're going to play defense. Who do you guard? Brock Bowers, Gentry. Now they got to get Dylan Gabriel in the second round. He'll be there. David, the Giants took Dart as a quarterback. Yeah, really stupid move. I like the edge rusher in the first round. I think that was the Giants, right? They got that, but Dart. Okay, if you're going to draft a quarterback, there's a guy named Dylan Gabriel and there's a guy named Jordan McLeod who are 20 times better than Dart. I don't get Dart at all. I think they needed a quarterback. Him? You got to be kidding me. He's not good. What big game did he win? Oh, yeah, he got killed by Georgia, Alabama. Oh, he beat old Mississippi State. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I thought Dart was – I don't even have him. I wouldn't even have picked him at all in the draft. Oh, he can run. Yeah. So I want a running quarterback because look how Lamar does in the playoffs. Denver, Jody Barron, cornerback, Texas. Denver's got Bo Nix. They needed a running back. They should have drafted Scatterboo. A cornerback from Texas, I don't know. I'd have went after one of these linebacker defensive end types. But okay, I like Sean Payton. So, is he any good? I don't know. It's hard to tell how good a quarterback is. I mean, they play so much zone. Pittsburgh, Derek Harmon, defensive tackle, Oregon. All right, I don't mind it because Pittsburgh's a defensive team, needed it. You need a quarterback. Who's your quarterback going to be? So this is they've needed a quarterback since the 1970s. The Steelers have always needed a quarterback. Bradshaw was absolute terrible. And then you got lucky with Ben Roethlisberger. Okay, defensive tackle, Oregon. I don't know. At least it's not an offensive lineman. Is he going to help you against Cincinnati? Is he going to help you against Baltimore? They're not running teams, So I don't. Kind of a weird pick. Here's where I would have definitely went after Scatterboo, Pittsburgh. They like to run the ball and play defense, and defensive tackle isn't going to do it. San Diego, Omar Hampton, running back, North Carolina. You wanted a running back. Why would you take this guy and not? I gave you 5 guys better than this guy yesterday. So on my board, Scatterboo, Neal from Kansas, Johnson from Iowa, Tajee Brooks from Texas Tech, Sampson from Tennessee, Harvey from UCF, and you end up with Hampton. And there's 5 guys better than him. I question that, especially San Diego. San Diego needed Scatterboo because San Diego is Harbaugh. He wants to run the ball and play defense. So he needs a Scatterboo, not a Hampton. So I don't know. You let Joey Bosa go. Did you need a running back and you get this guy? Again, you could have had Brock Bowers last year, and that's going to haunt you for the next 10 years. You could have had Brock Bowers, and you didn't take him. You took a guard instead. At least this time they drafted a running back. But, I would have probably went defense with San Diego here. If I'm going to draft this guy, if I'm not going to take Scatterboo, I'm going to take defense. Green Bay, Matthew Golden, wide receiver, Texas. I don't understand it. Green Bay needs defense. They got their ass kicked by the Lions and the Vikings. They need defensive help. They've got receivers. They got 5 good receivers. I don't understand this pick at all. This guy won't see the field. Is he any good? I doubt it. Name a good wide receiver from Texas. You can't. Good luck. Minnesota, Donovan Jackson, a offensive guard from Ohio State. Really? Okay, they got a pretty good defense. They need a quarterback because this quarterback from Michigan sucks. You've got Justin Jefferson. You've got a decent running back. But this guy I could have gotten the 5th round. They could have went, let's see, James Pierce, the edge from Tennessee, Maliki Starks, the safety from Georgia. So they could have had those guys instead. Or you could have drafted Scatterboo, which Minnesota could have used. Offensive guard in the 1st round from Ohio State is the stupidest pick I've ever seen. That's not your problem. Your problem was Sam Darnold couldn't read a fucking blitz. Maybe you get another running back who could help you there, or but an offensive guard. Why Ohio State? Did they have this wonderful offensive line? They had a 17-year-old wide receiver who could get open, and Will Howard hit him. Maybe you draft Will Howard, and not an offensive guard. I hate the pick. The New York Giants, Jackson Dart, as we said, could have had Will Howard, could have had Chandler Morris, Jordan McLeod, Dylan Gabriel, Curtis Rourke, Tyler Shaw ahead of them. At least they didn't draft Prime Jr. So there's 7 quarterbacks that I would have taken over Jackson Dart. He's not accurate. He wants to run too much. So, again, are we going with the – you just had Daniel Jones who ran a lot, and, well, see how that worked. Name me a running quarterback who's ever done anything in the league. Nobody. You got to have Joe Burrow. You've got to have Mahomes. You can't have a running, Richardsons don't work. Atlanta, love the pick. James Pierce, edge Tennessee. Atlanta got it. Boom. Picked up 2 edges. They have a weak defense. This guy should have been way higher than that. I watched some, Tennessee games. This guy was incredible. He'd be sacking everybody. So in the big games, he came through. We're gonna look at Atlanta. We'll win that division. They'll beat Tampa. They'll win about 13 games. And look out with Penix and Robinson as a running back and the receivers. And now you added some defense. Look out for Atlanta. Playoff team for sure. It's going to be them in Washington and Philly will be the 3 teams to watch. But Atlanta wins at least 13 games, I think, with the 2 edges and Penix playing a full year. I couldn't believe they didn't play Penix until like the last couple of weeks, and they missed the playoffs by a game. Why didn't you play him like week 8? You're sitting there with fucking Kirk Cousins, really? He did so much at Minnesota that of course I would play him. Hey Nick, I'm fine, thank you. Thoughts on my Raiders? Sorry if you went over it already. Well, I did, but I'll replay. Basically, I love the pick of Austin Gentry. You have Brock Bowers. How do you defense that team? Now, if they can add Dylan Gabriel in the second round, you got a quarterback, you got a stud running back, and you got the best receiver in the league in Brock Bowers. Plus, you got the other tight end from Notre Dame. Brock Bowers are going to put more in the slot, I think. Nobody can cover him. The guy's incredible. So how do you defense? That's my point. You can't. It's like when you got balance, you can't defend the team, right? Philly opened it up a little bit with Barkley and then AJ Brown that gives them balance. Kansas City's always had a little bit of balance, but the teams that win have the balance. It can run and pass, or you got Joe Montana, who the running attack was these short passes. Great pick, absolutely the perfect pick. Now I would go after Dylan Gabriel in the second round, and then after that I'd go after defense and give Max Crosby some help. But you're going to score with Gentry and Dave Casper Jr. here, Brock Bowers. How are you going to stop him? What do you do? I forget it. Oakland. If Oakland can get some, I don't know if there's any Georgia guys left or maybe Iowa guys left, then they can definitely challenge Kansas. Kansas City's going to have their hands full trying to defend this offense now. It's a beautiful pick. Prophet, I have a feeling the Raiders will take Prime Jr. if he's available in the second round, unfortunately. I would definitely prefer Gabriel as well. I don't know. People are kind of miffed on Prime Jr. because the one coach said about the interview that he was very elitist, and that's the problem when you play for your father. He's going to let all that shit go. Prime's not a good coach, and kissing his son's ass, and the son's spoiled, so the son doesn't really care. He doesn't really get it. I don't think they take Prime Jr. He's not. I would not draft him. I don't know what you see in the guy. Yeah, he ran around and he took a lot of sacks, so he didn't throw interceptions. I don't see him as a good quarterback. Sorry. Nick, I agree. I think Gentry was the best player in the draft. Much more balanced team now. Need defense. Well, they still need the quarterback. I would get Dylan Gabriel, and then I'd pound the defense. Get some secondary. Get another guy in a line for Crosby. And don't forget, they do have. I mean, here's what everybody doesn't understand about the draft: 98% of these players won't even make the team. The team has players, right? Like these offensive linemen drafted. Let's take a look. All right, Minnesota. Donovan Jackson, offensive guard, Ohio State. They have guards. Do you think this guy's just going to walk in and start? Are you kidding me? This guy at best is a backup, maybe sees the field if there's an injury. Otherwise, this is a wasted pick. You've got 8 offensive linemen that you already have there. This guy's not going to beat him out just because he played for Ohio State, just because you drafted him in the first round. This guy's a waste. This is a position he'll never see the field unless there's multiple injuries. That's my why I hate the offensive line in the first round. All right, so James Pierce, Atlanta, beautiful pick. Oh, let's go to New York. Hoping they don't get Sanders. He does duck. How can you not take Dylan Gabriel? I'm sorry. What is wrong with Dylan Gabriel? I said the same thing last year about Penix, and everybody laughed at me. And then Daniels, and I told you Caleb sucked. Caleb sucked. Daniels superstar, and here comes Penix. So don't fuck with me on this because I know what I'm doing and why Dylan Gabriel. He beat Ohio State. He beat Washington. He was good at Oklahoma. He plays well in big games. What the fuck? Okay, he lost to Ohio State in the second, but they had a really good defense. That's the puzzling part. They're taking offensive linemen from Ohio State. How about their defense? So I don't really get this primetime junior love. I mean, it's just primetime going, hey, the guy stinks. He's not better than Dak Prescott. David, Nick, Raiders should be competitive this year. Well, if they're smart enough to take Dylan Gabriel and they can get a couple of defensive guys from Iowa, Iowa State, Ohio State, they're still on the board. I don't know why all the Michigan defensive players are getting drafted. That makes no sense either. But if they can do that, they can challenge. I mean, because you got Max Crosby. You probably have a decent offensive line. I mean, you're playing, you have professionals on your team. And from what I understand, defense kind of quits when they got a bad quarterback. In other words, when you're on Tom Brady's team or Joe Montana's team, and it's the other team's got the ball and you need to stop them to get the ball back, they'll do it 100% of the time because they know they got Joe Montana or Tom Brady or Mahomes that's going to win the game for you if you get the ball back. But if you got some of these hacks, Anthony Richardson, Tagovailoa, Trevor Lawrence, you think the defense is going, well, if we stop them, we'll win? They're probably going, fuck it, let's end the game already. We have no chance with our quarterback. So that's why if you give them Dylan Gabriel, all of a sudden their defense plays better. Believe me, they got good defense. I mean, these are professional players on their defense to go with Max Crosby. So everybody overlooks that if you're in the league, you're pretty fucking good because you're professional. Doesn't matter what team, they're professionals. They can play. It's getting the right coach and the right quarterback and giving them a chance to win is what makes them go. So Oakland's fine if they can get Gabriel. But if they're relying on Geno Smith, they're fucked anyway. David, the Bears took Caleb over Jalen. They don't know how to draft. Exactly. That's exactly what I said. They took Mitch Trubisky and they took Justin Fields. That's 3 losers in a row now. And yes, I'm surprised they didn't take a quarterback this year. Be as bad as they are, though. That would have been it. Oh, look at the Giants. They take Dart. Yeah, whatchamacallit looked really good. Daniel Jones. Why the fuck would you take him? He was nothing in college. He played at Duke or North Carolina. He was nothing except for he went to the Peyton Manning camp. And they take him in the first round, like the 10th pick. And there was so many better quarterbacks out there. This is the problem. They don't know how to evaluate talent because they don't watch the games. They wait till this draft day when they're all in their T-shirts and shorts and they're, oh, look how far Anthony Richardson can throw. There's no pressure on him. He's not in equipment. Look at him in a game. That's where I got Daniels from, and that's where I got Michael Penix from. Look at him in the game. That's what you're looking at, not the stupid T-shirts and shorts and, geez, he looks like an athlete. That's the mistake Cincinnati made with this guy from Texas A&M who sucks. He's nothing. Where are you getting this guy from? In Cincinnati, you need help for Joe Burrow. I was so pissed that they didn't draft Scatterboo. Them in Kansas City, all they have to do to win the Super Bowl is draft Scatterboo. And what do? They fuck it up. All right, let's see. The Raiders have 9 picks in this draft, 3 in the 6th round. Well, they can get some offensive linemen and some defense. Just go to the right school. Don't go to Alabama. Baltimore, Maliki Stark, safety from Georgia. Baltimore still needs a quarterback, and a safety from Georgia. Because he's from Georgia, I'll give him points on that. I don't know how good he is. I don't know what Baltimore needs. They need more pass rush, and they got Henry. But their problem's a quarterback, and they need receivers. So I don't know about this pick. Detroit, Tyleik Williams, defensive tackle, Ohio State. Seriously? Detroit needs linebackers. They need edge rushers. They need to get to the quarterback. Okay, with this pick, if this guy's all pro, going to help him against Jalen Daniels or Philadelphia? No. This is not going to help him against a Daniels, a Penix, any of these. Jordan Love, he's a defensive tackle. Now, Ohio State did have a good defense. I'll give them credit for that. But this guy in the 1st round makes no sense. Washington, Josh Connerly, offensive tackle from Oregon. This is the problem. You've got Penix, so you've got the magic ticket, right? You got the golden ticket in Penix. Offensive tackle from Oregon. God knows you need defense. You got killed because your defense sucks. I would have drafted a defensive player, maybe from Ohio State, maybe even from Oregon. Offensive tackle from Oregon, I'm not drafting. No, because Daniels doesn't need it. You can't tackle him. Did you see the one touchdown against Philly where he just kind of ducks and moves, and next thing you know, it's 10 yards for a touchdown? He doesn't need an offensive tackle. Not in the 1st round. That was a terrible pick. Buffalo, Maxwell Harrison, cornerback from Kentucky. No idea. Buffalo needs defensive line help. They need to put pressure on Mahomes like Philadelphia did. That's what they should have done. A cornerback from Kentucky, I'm not buying that. Philadelphia via Kansas City. What was the point of this trade? They couldn't wait to get Jaleel Campbell, linebacker, Alabama. I don't know how the Georgia players are going to react to an Alabama guy. Normally, Alabama defensive players are terrible in the NFL because they play the way they play the old Steelers, 74 Steeler defense. It only works. It works in a kind of a unit, but the players themselves aren't usually very good. I don't know. It's Philadelphia. They've lost some defense to free agency, so maybe it's okay, but I'm very negative against the Alabama defense or offense, really. Kansas City, how did you not draft Scatterboo? Are you fucking kidding me? You draft Scatterboo, you're winning the next 3 Super Bowls. Are you kidding? Josh Simons, offensive tackle, Ohio State in the 1st fucking round. Are you kidding me? Oh my God, I can't believe this. So you're going to blame your offensive line on why Jalen Carter, who comes over center and guard, how is this guy going to help you? He's an offensive tackle, right? You need to stop Jalen Carter and the other guy who ran from the inside. This guy's not going to help you. Maybe you need an offensive lineman, as I say, not in the 1st round, fellas. So that is the draft. I give Atlanta the A+. They got 2 very good defensive edges and the guy out of Tennessee is a superstar. So loved him. I don't know about these offensive linemen. So if we look at it, Tennessee gets a Z, Jacksonville. What are you going to do with Travis Hunter? You need a quarterback. See, the problem is they don't realize they need a quarterback. Well, we've got Trevor Lawrence. Yeah. And did you win 6 games last year with Trevor Lawrence? who all he wants to do is run. I don't know. What are you going to do with Travis Hunter? I mean, if you wanted a receiver, you don't draft him second. And if you want a cornerback, you don't draft him second. These are second, third round players, unless it's Jerry Rice that you're drafting as a wide receiver. There's no cornerback. You could have Mel Blount. I wouldn't have drafted him. He didn't go in the first round. You can find cornerbacks all day, especially for Jacksonville, but they need defensive line help. They got no defense and they need a quarterback. So I don't know. Giants getting Abdul Carter, he's a good player. We'll give him credit. New England, no offensive lineman. Cleveland, what the fuck are you doing? Oakland gets an A+. The Jets, yeah, they let Aaron Rodgers go and they draft an offensive tackle. It was like, are you out of your mind? Carolina drafted a third round wide receiver, very weak wide receiver. And you waste a first round pick. Oh yeah, but you have Bryce Young. Yeah, so you'll be lucky to win 3 games again. David, Atlanta is going to be improved. Atlanta's going to win their division and be in the championship game against Washington if they can figure out how to beat Philly. Atlanta could beat Philly because Penix is very mobile. Not that Mahomes isn't, but Penix, man, he can just hit dimes. They're the one teams that can give Philadelphia problems. Washington, you think of, but their defense couldn't stop Barkley. So why didn't Washington draft a defensive player? I don't understand it. You couldn't stop Barkley. They couldn't stop Daniels, right? You've got the ace of spades. You've got Daniels. Just give him some defense. That's all you need, boys. So it's how do you beat Philadelphia in that defense? It's very difficult to beat a Georgia defense that gave up 7 points a game a couple years ago. I don't know, but New Orleans offensive tackle in the first round, you're out of your fucking mind. Chicago, Loveland, he's a loser. He doesn't, oh, I can't play against Ohio State. I'm injured. Why would you draft this guy? Oh my God. I like Frisco, an edge from Georgia. So the question is, why didn't New Orleans draft an edge from Georgia? Michael Williams went 11th. Let's see. So Jacksonville could have got him. The Giants got Carter. I'm not sure he's better than this guy. New England could have used him. Cleveland could have used him. Oakland, okay. The Jets definitely needs defense. Carolina definitely needs defense and offense. New Orleans could have used them. And the Bears, they got pretty good defense, but Loveland, I'm not drafting. I'm not drafting a receiver in this draft because they're terrible. So I'm not seeing it. Good pick by San Francisco. Dallas, an offensive guard from Alabama. What are you guys thinking? Yeah, because as I said my point earlier, he won't even see the field. Dallas had a very good offensive line. He's not going to beat out the 5 guys that are there. These are high draft picks Dallas has. So if you think this guy is going to start, you're out of your mind. This is a wasted pick. And that's my point. You could have got a guy you needed in defense, like, Jalen Walker, the linebacker from Georgia, or the kid from Tennessee that Atlanta take. No, you got an offensive guard who won't see the field because you have 8 offensive linemen who are there now. And you're going to tell me this guy's better than them? There's no fucking way. Those are pros. This guy, offensive guard at Alabama, that's a 3rd, 4th round pick. These guys have no concept what they're doing. Miami, a defensive tackle, okay. Indy, tight end, Warren from Penn State. Maybe he's no Brock Bowers. Atlanta, I loved. Arizona, I'm okay with the defensive tackle from Ole Miss. Cincinnati, I like the edge, but not from A&M. Not this guy who's a project. You draft in the 1st round, the 17th pick. You got Joe Burrow and Chase, and you're drafting a project as your defensive end. Well, he looked good in the workouts. Yeah, in T-shirts and shorts, he looks good. In a game against Texas or Georgia or Alabama, he doesn't show up. All right, Seattle, a guard from North Dakota State in the first round. Okay, this is a guy you probably draft in the 5th round. Okay, you draft him in the 5th round. You're not drafting him in the first round. Tampa Bay, a receiver from Ohio State, I don't like. Denver, cornerback from Texas. Denver's pretty solid. Sean Payton, you got Bo Nix. Okay, maybe you were on Scatterboo, would have been nice here. Pittsburgh, defensive tackle. Oregon had a pretty good defense. San Diego, running back from North Carolina. You need defense, San Diego. I don't know. You don't use your quarterback right. You got a guy like Herbert, man. Give him some receivers. I don't know that I would have wasted. And this guy's not a top 5 running back, that's for sure. Green Bay, a wide receiver. Really? You need defense, Green Bay. Fuck. These guys don't even know what they need. Minnesota, a guard from Ohio State again in the first round. You got to be kidding me. The Giants, Jackson Dart. God. The GM. Why is the GM still there? This is the guy that took Daniel Jones from Duke. Yeah, he knows how to draft quarterbacks. Atlanta, love Pierce. Baltimore, Starks. Okay, he's from Georgia. Detroit, defensive tackle, Ohio State. Maybe in the 4th round. He's not a first-round pick. Washington, offensive tackle from Oregon. You need defense. You got to help. You got to help Daniels with some defense to stop Philadelphia from running Barkley. Buffalo, cornerback from Kentucky. I don't like it. Philadelphia, linebacker, Alabama. Okay, he's a bench player. And then the Chiefs could have had Scatterboo. That's the biggest mistake. That's this year's Brock Bowers mistake. Josh Simmons, all tackle Ohio. What's with the linemen from Ohio State? Did they have a good offensive line? Really? What was the score of the Michigan game? Oh, yeah, 13-10. And you're all crazy about their offensive line. So the one team with the pretty good defense, Michigan, they don't show up for. So what do you think they're going to do in the pros? All right. That is that. So round 2 and 3 we'll talk about tomorrow. Quarterbacks that are very good that are still there, of course. Will Howard, Chandler Morris, North Texas, Jordan McLeod, Texas State superstar, Dylan Gabriel, very strong, Curtis Rourke, Indiana, very strong, Tyler Shaw, Louisville's decent. It's just because he went to Texas Tech, but he lost the starting job, so I wonder how good he is. Prime Jr. should not be drafted, and Urs from Texas maybe, and Heinz King from Georgia Tech. I love it, but I don't think he's in. I think he's going to play another year at Georgia Tech. And my favorite, Daggio Pavia from New Mexico State via Vanderbilt. He'd have been my number 1 pick. And if he goes and next year, as long as he doesn't get hurt, would be my number 1 pick because he's a winner. He beat Alabama all by himself, and then he lost to Texas by 3. And he probably beat Army and Navy when he was at New Mexico State. All right, scores and schedules. Let's look at yesterday's results, NBA playoffs. The loser is motivated and usually wins. Let's check it out. New York had to win 118, 116, lane 1. That was a strong play, the Knicks. Teams after a loss. See, the problem is you look at them you look at Detroit beating them in game 2 because Detroit had to win. They were off the loss of game 1. Now the series is tied. Now you got New York's attention, and New York is the 3 seed. And now New York's going, we're not losing to these fuckers again. We need to win, or we go down 3-1, we're out. So they had to win off of the loss. They won. I would think Detroit would win game 4, and off we go. Oklahoma City 114, Memphis 108. Memphis 9 was the play. They played their best game. They were at home. They couldn't go down 3-0, so they were going to play, and they did. And they lost by 6. but they covered. And now game 4, Oklahoma City will probably kill them, because now that was their best effort, game 2 and game 3, and they couldn't do shit. And San Diego against Denver. San Diego wins 117-83. I had San Diego as they were 1-1, and they're clearly the better team because they're the road favorite. When the game's in Denver, they were road favorite. So I think San Diego. I don't know who's. I don't know who's on any of these teams. I really don't care. That's not the point of it. This is playoff psychology, and it works like a charm. So hit the New York, hit Memphis, hit San Diego. Pretty good day in college basketball without knowing any of the players. All right, we got 3 games today. Boston, Orlando. Boston's up 2-0. Boston's a 4.5-point favorite, 197. I guess Orlando has no offense. Boston wants to clean this up. It's a low spread. I like Boston here. Orlando will play its best game, but I don't know that they can stay within 4.5 of Boston. I don't know. So this should be an Orlando play if it was 10, but at 4, like yesterday, the Oklahoma City Memphis was 10.9.5. So yeah, you had, and they lost by 6. I think Boston wins this and sweeps them. Indy, Milwaukee, Milwaukee 5.5. Indy leads 2-0. This is a lock. Take Milwaukee. This is do or die for Milwaukee. It's fair. So Indy won their 2 games at home. So ignore that. Okay. They won them at home. So you can't look at them as the same team at Milwaukee. Milwaukee is actually favored by 5.5. Look for them to win by 20. They have to win the game. We'll look for them to get the W. They're down 2-0. They have to win. So I love Milwaukee tonight in a must win. They might not win it, but it's a must win. You're going to get maximum effort. The role players are much better at home, and Indy's role players are much worse on the road. Indy's kind of relaxed. We're up 2-0. We can afford to lose the game. Milwaukee cannot afford to go down 3-0. Milwaukee will play their best game. If that's good enough, I don't know, but I would bet that. And the Lakers and Minnesota. Minnesota, the series is tied at 1. Minnesota minus 3.5, 206. Minnie won game 1. The Lakers won game 2. Minnie's got the better defense. Minnie's at home. The role players will play much better for Minnie. And the Laker role players won't show up. I like Minnesota here. Only laying 3.5. Not a must win, but they're going to come back after the loss. Teams in a playoff series after a loss, they are focused. They realize they can't afford to lose, and the team that wins relaxes. So the Lakers are kind of relaxed. Oh, yeah, 1-1. Forget the score. Forget everything else. Minnie's off the loss. The teams are even, 50 wins and 49 wins. Minnie's only laying 3.5. Man, you can make a big lock today. Minnesota and Milwaukee. Boston, not a lot because they're up 2-0. We'll go up 3-0, but I would not bet Orlando because the spread's too low. So it's Boston, it's Milwaukee, strong, having a must-win game, and Minnesota off the loss against the Lakers. That is your basketball, and I really like this basketball. This is a good day. Baseball. So I've done a new chart to help, and my chart is basically this. I'm looking at, so I always look at the pitchers' ERAs to kind of start the game, right? Who do I have? And I'm going to bet the strong ERAs over the weak ERAs. Who is Scatterboo? Oh my God. Scatterboo is this running back from Arizona State who is phenomenal. He got like 1,600 yards, 20 some touchdowns, real thick guy. Hard to compare maybe to Tom Rathman, only he's a running back. So if you know what Tom Rathman looked like, good luck trying to tackle him. This guy will get you You got the ball at the 5-yard line, give him the ball, touchdown. You got 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, give him the ball, it's a first down. Very strong running back. Arizona State had a very good team last year. Very hard to tackle. He's clearly, in my mind, he was number 2 after Gentry as a running back. I would have taken him over this North Carolina guy all day. North Carolina doesn't really produce good running backs. Not that Arizona State does, but Scatterboo is an exception. Very, very strong running back. So I would take him. I don't know what the problem is. Maybe he's not that fast, but he was fast enough in college. So that's who he is. You get a chance to watch like an Arizona State game on ESPN on YouTube, little 20-minute. You'll see who Scatterboo is. Very good play. So I've created this for baseball. So what this says: hitters that hit over 275 and hitters that hit 225. When I look at the box score, I see teams with 5-6 guys hitting under 175, a couple guys hitting under 100, but not just one. Like half their lineup can't hit. So example would be Tampa's got 5 good hitters. Detroit has 6. Minnesota only has 1 good hitter. Texas has 6. If you go down the list, Philadelphia was 6. Miami was 7. The Cubs was 7. Cincinnati was 6. San Diego was 7. Those are over teams that I want to bet on, and when I get over unders, right? But then I look at the other way, hitters hitting under 225. Look at this: the Yankees 5, Toronto 5, Boston 5, Baltimore 5. Where the fuck are they getting these guys? Cleveland 5, KC 6, Minnesota 5, the White Sox 8. You want to bet on the White Sox? They got 8 hitters. You can't hit 225. Now, again, it's batting average, so it's an average, but how else can we bet this craziness? So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the pitcher ERA, how strong is he, and then we're looking at how many hitters do they have, and are we going to count on hitters that hit 175? You want to bet on a team with 5 guys hitting 175, or the White Sox have 8. They have 1 guy, and the rest of their lineup can hit. Maybe they hit 2, 2.25, and then you've got, I think they have 2 guys hitting under 100. So what are you going to do with that? And that's the problem. All right. So baseball, let's look at yesterday. I think I'll come back and do economics later. I got to go about 11:30. Yesterday, White Sox over 7.5, lost. My 2-unit play, Boston under 8, wins 4-3. Kansas City beats Colorado 7-4. That's a winner. The 49ers over 7.5 was 6-5, 11 winner. KC over 8 in the second game is a push. Baltimore 2-1 over Washington. Cade Povich with his 5.04 ERA allows 1 run to Washington, and Washington's got, well, they only have 2 hitters, so that kind of made it was a bad over. I lost. California, I win 4-3. That's my 2-unit. And Tampa 7-4. I have Tampa. And Oakland over 8.5. They don't get their 7.5. So my bet, Boston under 8, 2 units wins, and California Angels straight up to win. So I go 2-0 on my picks. Not bad on the rest of it. Washington kind of don't know what happened there, and Oakland, I don't know what to do with that. All right. Oakland's hard to figure. All right, let's look at today. 424. Don't waste Mark McGuire today. He has Lynette Zhang on it. You're not going to learn anything from her. She's a stockbroker. But you're gonna, she's into gold, but we're not going to learn anything from her. 425 actually. All right. It's 11. It's 220. Philly at the Cubbies. We know they can both hit. The Cubbies have 7 hitters that are good, 1 hitter that's bad. This is a good fucking lineup. Philly was 6 hitters and 3 bad. Philly, Cubs, this should be high scoring unless we get Nolan Ryan against Steve Carlton. We got Taijuan Walker 1-1 with a 2.29 against Colin Ray. Oh no, with a 1.32. So we do get Nolan Ryan against Steve Carlton. The Cubs are a 145 favorite. I wouldn't touch. And over under 8. Let's check Colin Ray. Is he a starter or a bullpen? No, he's a starter. Well, 3 innings, 2 innings, 3 innings, 4 innings. He's got a bunch of zeros and 2 ones. This guy does not give up a lot. That's why the Cubs are favorite. Taijuan Walker, you got to go under. This is where it's frustrating. The pitchers say go under. The hitters say they're going to score a lot of runs. It's in Wrigley. Over 8. Jesus Christ. But here's where I go with the pitcher. The pitcher supersedes the hitters. Because a good pitcher, Sandy Koufax, Gibson, you're not hitting them. I don't care what kind of offense you have. So we'll have to go Cubbies. We'll have to go under 8, but I won't make a play on it. It's not the sweet spot that I'm looking for. Had it been 2 pigs and the over-under was 8 or 9, we would lock the game over, but not in this case. Baltimore and Detroit. Baltimore 10-14, Detroit 15-10. Detroit beats the bad pitchers and loses to the good pitchers. Detroit minus 128.5. Brandon Young 0-0 with a 6.75. Casey Mize 3-1. Here I take Detroit. I hate to bet it, but I will. We'll do 2 units. Take Detroit. They'll probably win. They'll probably score 7 in the game because I noticed they score 7 in all their games, either 7-0, 6-1, or 4-3. Baltimore. Now, if you look at Baltimore, they only got 3 hitters, and Detroit's got 6. So I think Detroit, and they're very good at home. So Detroit is a good play here. The Mets in Washington. The Mets are 18-7. The Mets 175-9. That's why. Kata Senga 3-1 with a .79. Holy crap for the Mets. Jake Irvin 2-0 with a 3.68. This is under. And why under 9, and this will be 2 units. Should be more, but we'll just keep it at 2 units. The Mets in Washington. Washington only has 2 hitters, and Mets have 4. Fuck, I like this even more. Let's make this 5 units. I'm not going to lock it, but I should. But this is 2 good pitchers against kind of weak teams. But the Mets, this says Mets all over, or take the Mets. So I think I'm going to play the Mets also. So the Mets and the under in this one. Toronto goes to the Yankees. Jose Berrios for Toronto, 1-1 with a 5.02. Carlos Carrasco, 2-1 with a 6.53. The Yankees are 140 and over under a 9. Toronto 4 hitters, Yankees 4 hitters. And by the way, Aaron Judge is hitting over 400 now. And then by the way, Goldsmith is hitting 375. The rest of the team doesn't hit, but those 2 are killing the ball. Berrios, I got to go over here, hopefully. Just because the pitching's terrible. A 5.02 and a 6.53. Now, the problem with baseball now is these guys go 2 innings, 3 innings, 4 innings. So you're betting on a 6.53 guy, and he only goes 2 innings. Well, he's not going to give up 6 runs in the 2 innings. He might give up 3 or 4. But then the bullpen comes in, and they each pitch an inning. I've never seen anything like it. They got 15 guys in the bullpen. They all pitch 1 inning. And it's easy to, throw a shutout. And then so you don't get a lot of runs late unless you just run out of relievers. So we'll go over. Boston and Cleveland. In Cleveland, no Fenway Park. Boston 115-9. Tanner Houck 0-2 with a 7.66 for Boston. Ben Lively 1-2 with the 3.86. We got to go Cleveland here. I ain't betting on Tanner Houck with the 7.66 ERA. Let's see. Boston has 3 hitters. Cleveland with 4 hitters sometimes. 3 or 4 hitters, depending on who's in the lineup. So we'll go Cleveland at home. California, we won with them yesterday. Go to Minnesota. California's 12-12. Minnesota's 9-16. So they're pretty pathetic. And yet they're a 200 favorite. Over-under of 8. Kyle Hendricks for California. 0-2 with a 4.50. Pablo Lopez, 1-1 with a 1.62. Explains why Minnesota is a 200 favorite. California, 4 hitters, and Minnesota's got 1 hitter. With this is probably an under, because the 4 hitters on LA aren't going to do anything. And even with Kyle Hendricks, there's just nothing there. I'm not going to lay 200 in Minnesota. So we're going to take Minnesota under 8. 2 reasons: no hitting and a pitcher with a 1.62 ERA. Houston and KC. We got Houston minus 120 and 8. We got Hayden Wisniewski 1-1 with a 3.91. Seth Lugo for KC 1-3 with a 3.90. So they're pretty much 4.0 pitchers. Houston is favorite at Kansas City. Let's look at the team. KC with 3 hitters, 6 hitters who don't hit 200, and Houston 2 hitters and 4. So there's no hitting except for Altuve in this game. We got to go. Do we go under with 2 pitchers that are 3.9? You can't go over. There's no hitting for you. So we'll have to go under. I can't take KC. And I can't bet on 3.9 ERA pitchers without hitting. So we got to go under 8 in this game. Very tough game there. Yeah, Altuve was hitting like 215, and now he's hitting 315. So he got hot. But that's what you expect out of Altuve, a 300 hitter to hit 300. Milwaukee, 13-13. St. Louis, 10-15. St. Louis is favored at home, 125, total of 8. Chad Patrick, 1-1 with a 2.11 ERA for Milwaukee. Matthew Liberatore, 1-2 with a 3.60. Milwaukee, 5 hitters, and who are they playing? St. Louis has 4 hitters. So you could get some runs. Milwaukee's got a hell of a bullpen. We're going to go under here. St. Louis, under 8. They got some hitters, but you got some good pitching. Milwaukee probably is a live dog, too. St. Louis is minus 125. I think Milwaukee, very live dog with that bullpen. Cincinnati, Colorado. Cincinnati minus 129.5. Andrew Abbott, 2-0. Hold on. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey. Are you there?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Are you coming?
Yeah. I'll leave in about 8 minutes.
Okay. Everything okay?
Yeah, I'm just in class.
Okay.
We had the NFL draft to talk about. All right. Yeah, I'll end it very soon, and then I'll be on my way.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Sorry, that was Alyssa. She needs a ride, and I be her ride. All right. Sorry about that. St. Louis. Okay, we got Cincinnati, Colorado. Colorado's 4-20, but they are at home where they do score runs in the softball stadium. Cincinnati 129.5. Andrew Abbott 2-0 with a 1.64. Kyle Friedman. Oh no, we're going to take Cincinnati here. Atlanta, Arizona. Both teams at 10-14, 14-11. Arizona at home. Atlanta's 135. They were like 2-11. They're now 10-14. They're playing much better. Chris Sale, who used to pitch, who now doesn't know how to pitch, 0-2 with a 6.17. Zach Gallion, 1-3 with the 5.60. We're going over here. This will be 2 units. Arizona over 8.5. And we'll go 2 units because Arizona can hit. They've got 5 hitters, and Atlanta can hit. They got 4. So there should be a lot of runs. Bad ERAs. Chris Sale, I don't know what happened to him, but he ain't there anymore. So let's go over 2 units. It's a good 2-unit play. A couple more. Jesus. Tampa, San Diego. I got to get going. So quickly. San Diego, 145-7. Shane Baz, 2-0 with the 3.20. Michael King, 3-0 with the 2.57. San Diego can hit the ball. I'm going to take San Diego here. They're a very good team. Miami, Seattle. Cal Quintrell, 1-2 with an 8.31 for Miami. Logan Gilbert, 1-1 with a 2.63. Seattle at home. Seattle's a huge favorite. We'll take Seattle. The White Sox in Oakland. The White Sox they're actually 6-19 now. Athletics 235, 9.5. Sean Burke 1-3 with the 6.23. Luis Seravino 1-3 with the 3.31. Sean Burke, we got to go Oakland here. 3.31 against a 6.23. Although Oakland's a big favorite. Pittsburgh going against the Dodgers. Dodgers 210-7. Paul Scanes 2-2 with a 2.87 against Yashubu. Mr. Fuji 3-1 with an 0.93. We are going under, and this is 3 units. Pitt under 7, 3 units. I bet Scanes last time and we lost, but he pitched well. Look for him to pitch well at Dodger Stadium. And then you got Yashubu, who's 3-1 with a 0.93. Pittsburgh doesn't hit. The Dodgers have only 4 hitters, and Pittsburgh's got 4 hitters. McCutcheon's been playing better. He was hitting like 210. He's now 260s. But if this guy's as good as he is, 3-1 with a 0.93, we know how good Scanes is. This is going to be a 1-0 game, so go under in this one. And our last game, Texas and the 49ers. Texas is a 110 favorite at San Francisco. Frisco is 17-9. Texas 14-11. Texas 110, 7.5. Nathan Ubaldi 1-2 with the 2.64 against Verlander. Verlander and Sale need to get together and figure out what's going on. This would normally be a lock on Verlander. Let's see what he did. What did he do last game? They had a pretty good game last game. 6 innings. He gave up 2 hits to California. He struggled with Philly. He struggled with Cincinnati. He pitched good against Seattle, gave up 3 runs and 2 against Cincinnati. So his problem was Cincinnati 5 runs, Philly 4 runs, but against California, he looked good. So which Verlander we're going to get? Let's assume we get the good Verlander. So we're going to go under San Fran, under 7.5. He's at home. Let's go Verlander. Okay, I got to go take Alyssa. So I am on. We'll go through the picks again. Detroit, 2 units. The Mets, under 9, 5 units. Also like the Mets. Arizona, over 8.5, 2 units. And Pitt, under 7 with Scanes, 3 units. Do you think Desmond Watson, the 4? I have no idea what you're talking about. Who's Desmond Watson? What team's he on? And I don't think 450-pound guys are going to be any good in the league. And I got to get going. So let's end with gold. Where's it at? Gold always drops at 10 o'clock. By 11:30, it should have gone up a little. And let's see. It is 32. It did go up at 10 to 23 to 32.83, 23. And now it's 23. It's 32.72. Silver at 32.91. It's price fixed. We know both of these are price fixed. 32.72. It's still a good number. We got close to 35 and then all the kickback. I don't know why. Like that's the magic number. Once it hits 35, it's going to 5,000. I don't know. So anyway, 32.72. So he's from Florida. I never heard of him. Why didn't I not hear of him? If he's any good, why didn't I hear of him last year when they played Georgia? Why didn't I hear of him? So all I can say is I've never heard of him. So I have no idea. Will he be drafted? He shouldn't be drafted. You can just take him as a free agent. There should be more than 7 rounds. But anyway, I've never heard of him. Is he any good? If he's any good, they draft him. But, I think 3 1/4, a guy like Jalen Carter, who's very good and fast, is what you're looking for. I don't think, 450 pounds, he ain't moving anywhere. So I don't see the point of him. Maybe Washington. So when Jalen Hurts does the tush push, he ain't running on that guy. Anyway, I have no idea. He was a starter at Florida. Florida sucked though. How did they do? Did they win any games in the SEC? No. All right, I got to go. Have a good day, everybody. Watch your gold. Watch your draft. We'll talk about the next rounds 2 and 3 tomorrow. And look for Scatterboo to go. Look for Dylan Gabriel to go to Oakland. But if they draft Shador, they made a big mistake. That's all I can say. He's not a good quarterback. All right, everybody. Have a great day. www.teaserking.com. I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe later tonight.